In psychology, the term shadow refers to the unconscious aspects of ourselves that we hide, deny, or ignore. These traits, ideas, and feelings, often labeled as undesirable or negative, don't disappear just because we avoid them. Instead, they form a hidden side of our personality, what Carl Jung called the shadow. According to Jung, the shadow encompasses everything we consciously choose not to identify with: thoughts, feelings, desires, and fears we consider unacceptable or too uncomfortable to acknowledge. Imagine a part of yourself that you've kept hidden in the dark, something you perhaps even judge in others but wouldn't want to confront in yourself. This is where the shadow lives, built on rejected aspects of the self that remain deeply rooted in the unconscious mind. Jung believed that integrating the shadow, rather than suppressing it, is essential for achieving a whole, balanced personality. He saw this process as vital for true self-awareness and personal growth. As we explore this concept, consider the ways in which the shadow might already be present in your life. Every time you feel an intense, inexplicable reaction, whether irritation, jealousy, or anger, you may be seeing a glimpse of this hidden self. These reactions are like signals from the shadow, moments where parts of ourselves that we've pushed aside seek to surface. In this video, we'll dive deeper into what it means to face the shadow, and why embracing it is not only essential for self-discovery but can also be a path to unleashing hidden strengths and energies. We tend to ignore our shadow because facing it can be uncomfortable and even frightening. The shadow holds aspects of ourselves that we may feel ashamed of or simply wish weren't part of us. Society and culture also teach us early on to categorize our traits, emotions, and behaviors as either good or bad, with anger, jealousy, fear, and vulnerability often landing in the latter category. This conditioning can lead us to believe that these qualities should be eliminated or, at the very least, deeply hidden. One of the main reasons we ignore the shadow is that it feels safer and easier to focus on the parts of ourselves that align with our ideal image. We may tell ourselves that we are patient, generous, or confident while refusing to acknowledge moments of envy, resentment, or insecurity. As a result, these disowned parts don't disappear. Instead, they are buried in the unconscious mind and can resurface in ways we don't recognize or understand. The psychological process of projection is one of the most common ways the shadow makes itself known. When we project, we attribute our hidden traits or emotions onto others, often judging them harshly for qualities we dislike in ourselves. For instance, someone who suppresses feelings of anger might be quick to judge others as too aggressive or impulsive. This tendency to see our own suppressed qualities in others creates ongoing inner conflict and tension in relationships, keeping us distanced from our true selves. Additionally, ignoring the shadow often means missing out on potential growth. The qualities we label as negative can carry hidden strengths when recognized and channeled productively. For example, anger can be a powerful force for setting boundaries, and envy can reveal unfulfilled desires or goals. By pushing these feelings aside, we lose opportunities to understand what truly drives us or holds us back. As we continue, keep in mind that acknowledging the shadow isn't about moral judgment or self-blame. Rather, it's about becoming aware of the complete self, including the parts we would prefer to overlook. By confronting the shadow, we can start dismantling the patterns that keep us from reaching our full potential, transforming it into a source of insight and personal strength. Identifying your shadow is the first active step in the journey towards self-integration. It begins with a willingness to observe your inner reactions and challenge the beliefs you hold about who you are. Recognizing your shadow involves looking at the emotional triggers that arise in everyday situations, those moments when you feel strong, often negative emotions, like anger, shame, or resentment. These intense reactions often reveal traits or feelings that we've pushed into our shadow, making them valuable clues for deeper self-understanding. One effective way to begin is to ask yourself reflective questions about situations that make you uncomfortable. For instance, consider moments when you felt irritated or judgmental. Ask yourself, what specifically annoyed me? Could it be reflecting something within myself that I don't want to admit? Such self-inquiry can feel challenging, but it's essential for unearthing hidden patterns in your responses. For instance, if you frequently find yourself judging others for being self-centered, this may point to a part of your own personality that desires attention or validation but has been suppressed. Another useful exercise is to examine the qualities you most often criticize in others. These qualities may be projections of your own unrecognized characteristics. According to Jung, projection is a natural defense mechanism that allows us to avoid acknowledging our shadow by projecting it onto those around us. If you often criticize others for being too aggressive or too needy, it may be because these are traits within yourself that you haven't fully accepted. Observing these reactions without judgment can be a powerful way to recognize the parts of your personality that make up your shadow. Journaling is another practical tool for shadow work, helping to make the unconscious conscious. By writing about your day-to-day experiences and honestly examining your emotional responses, you may notice recurring patterns that hint at the shadow. For example, you might jot down times you felt jealous or inadequate and explore the underlying causes. What exactly triggered that feeling? What does it tell me about my unmet needs or desires? Over time, keeping a journal helps you see the connections between specific emotions and deeper, sometimes hidden, aspects of yourself. Additionally, mindfulness meditation can play a key role in identifying and observing the shadow. Through meditation, you can cultivate a state of non-judgmental awareness, which allows you to notice thoughts and feelings without immediately reacting to them. When practiced consistently, meditation can help you recognize emotions as they arise, giving you the space to explore them rather than repressing them. Lastly, therapy or counseling can be a supportive environment for shadow work. A therapist trained in Jungian psychology or other depth approaches can help you explore your shadow in a safe, guided setting. They can assist you in identifying projections and developing a clearer understanding of the unconscious patterns that shape your behavior. Remember, recognizing your shadow doesn't mean accepting it blindly. Instead, it's about acknowledging these hidden parts of yourself so that you can consciously decide how to engage with them. By identifying your shadow traits, you're taking an essential step towards self-awareness and inner freedom, allowing you to make choices that are grounded in a fuller understanding of who you are. Accepting and integrating the shadow is a transformative process that involves embracing those disowned aspects of yourself without judgment. Rather than seeing your shadow traits as bad or unwanted, integration requires a compassionate view, one that recognizes that every trait has a potential role and value. For example, emotions like anger, envy, or insecurity can reveal important insights about your boundaries, desires, and growth areas. The first step in integration is to practice self-compassion. Often, we are harsh with ourselves when confronting difficult emotions or traits. Instead of viewing anger as a failure or weakness, try seeing it as a signal that something important to you may have been violated. By treating these emotions with empathy, you can begin to unlock their hidden messages. Compassion allows us to engage with our emotions constructively, turning a feeling like anger into an opportunity for setting boundaries, or transforming envy into motivation for self-improvement. Another essential aspect of integration is learning how to channel shadow traits into strengths. Think of qualities like assertiveness or ambition, characteristics that may have been labeled as selfish or aggressive during childhood. When explored and integrated, these traits can be balanced, offering you the ability to assert yourself confidently without overstepping others. Similarly, embracing vulnerability, often feared as a sign of weakness, can open doors to deeper connections and genuine relationships. Acceptance, however, doesn't mean allowing all aspects of the shadow to run unchecked. It involves understanding these traits deeply so that you can choose when and how to express them. For instance, by recognizing and accepting your inner competitive nature, you can use it as fuel to achieve goals, without letting it disrupt relationships or lead to resentment. Integration also encourages the development of a more complete and resilient self. Once you accept that all emotions and traits serve a purpose, you no longer need to waste energy suppressing parts of yourself. This wholeness brings a sense of inner peace and empowerment. It frees you from the shame or guilt that might have held you back, enabling you to engage with life from a place of self-acceptance rather than fear or self-criticism. To make this process actionable, consider practicing regular check-ins with yourself. This can be a few moments each day where you reflect on situations that brought up strong emotions, noting if they might be related to shadow traits. Over time, you'll notice patterns and gain greater control over how you choose to respond. Ultimately, shadow integration transforms your inner experience and your relationships. By accepting and integrating your shadow, you're learning to use these energies constructively. The shadow becomes a source of wisdom and power rather than a cause for shame or suppression, allowing you to live more fully and freely. Integrating the shadow into daily life brings profound and lasting benefits, both internally and in relationships. When you embrace these hidden parts of yourself, you create a foundation of self-acceptance that strengthens your sense of identity. You're no longer at odds with who you are, and this inner harmony radiates into every area of life. You become more confident because you aren't using energy to hide parts of yourself or to maintain a facade. One of the most noticeable benefits of shadow integration is improved emotional resilience. By recognizing and understanding the full spectrum of your emotions, you can respond to challenges with greater stability. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by anger, jealousy, or fear, you're able to observe these emotions and determine their deeper causes, responding from a place of wisdom rather than reactivity. This resilience enables you to navigate difficult situations with more control, patience, and insight, transforming what once felt overwhelming into opportunities for growth. Shadow work also enhances empathy and compassion, not only toward yourself but toward others. When you've accepted and understood your own shadow, you're less likely to judge others harshly. You start to see that everyone carries a shadow, and that many of the traits we dislike in others might be similar to those we've had to face within ourselves. This shift in perspective fosters more meaningful relationships and reduces conflict, as you become more tolerant and understanding of others' imperfections. Additionally, the shadow can be a source of creativity and inspiration. Often, the traits we repress carry untapped energy and potential. When we acknowledge and channel these traits, we open ourselves to new ideas, perspectives, and possibilities. For example, accepting and exploring feelings of envy can help clarify personal aspirations, while acknowledging fear can inspire creative problem-solving strategies to address it. This liberated creative energy can enrich your personal projects, hobbies, or even your career. Ultimately, integrating the shadow transforms how you relate to yourself and the world. It brings a sense of wholeness and self-empowerment, allowing you to live with greater authenticity and purpose. When the shadow is no longer a source of internal conflict, you are free to express yourself fully, bringing the strengths and insights of a balanced self into everything you do. Embracing the shadow is a journey of self-discovery that can bring remarkable depth, balance, and fulfillment to your life. By recognizing and integrating the parts of yourself that have long been hidden, you're not only accepting who you truly are but also unlocking potentials that were previously suppressed. This work may be challenging, but the rewards, greater self-confidence, inner peace, and more authentic connections, are well worth the effort. As you continue on this path, remember that integrating the shadow is not a one-time achievement, it's a lifelong practice. Each new experience, relationship, and challenge may reveal new aspects of your shadow, providing fresh opportunities for growth. Approach these moments with curiosity and compassion, knowing that every part of you has a role to play in your personal evolution. To begin your own journey, try a simple exercise of daily reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review moments when you felt strong reactions. Note any patterns or traits that emerge, and consider what they might reveal about your hidden self. Over time, this practice will help you develop a clearer, more compassionate view of your entire personality. If you're ready to explore even further, consider seeking support through therapy or joining a community where you can safely discuss and reflect on these topics. Sharing your journey with others can provide insights and encouragement, helping you stay committed to this path of self-integration. Remember, the journey to wholeness is unique for each person. Embrace your shadow not as a problem to be fixed, but as an integral part of who you are. In doing so, you open the door to a life of deeper understanding, authentic connection, and inner harmony. In psychology, the term shadow refers to the unconscious aspects of ourselves that we hide, deny, or ignore. These traits, ideas, and feelings, often labeled as undesirable or negative, don't disappear just because we avoid them. Instead, they form a hidden side of our personality, what Carl Jung called the shadow. According to Jung, the shadow encompasses everything we consciously choose not to identify with: thoughts, feelings, desires, and fears we consider unacceptable or too uncomfortable to acknowledge. Imagine a part of yourself that you've kept hidden in the dark, something you perhaps even judge in others but wouldn't want to confront in yourself. This is where the shadow lives, built on rejected aspects of the self that remain deeply rooted in the unconscious mind. Jung believed that integrating the shadow, rather than suppressing it, is essential for achieving a whole, balanced personality. He saw this process as vital for true self-awareness and personal growth. As we explore this concept, consider the ways in which the shadow might already be present in your life. Every time you feel an intense, inexplicable reaction, whether irritation, jealousy, or anger, you may be seeing a glimpse of this hidden self. These reactions are like signals from the shadow, moments where parts of ourselves that we've pushed aside seek to surface. In this video, we'll dive deeper into what it means to face the shadow, and why embracing it is not only essential for self-discovery but can also be a path to unleashing hidden strengths and energies.